On November 24th, 1971, a man bought a plane ticket, Portland to Seattle, $20, cash. He gave a name, Dan Cooper. Average height, average build, dark suit, black tie, the kind of person you'd forget the moment he walked past you, and that was the point. He boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 at 2:50 in the afternoon, Thanksgiving Eve. 36 passengers, most of them heading home. He took a seat in the back, 18C, window seat. The flight attendant, Florence Schaffner, 23 years old, came by with drinks. He ordered a bourbon and soda, $1. She barely looked at him, but then he handed her a note, folded, calm, no urgency in his movements. She almost put it in her pocket. She thought he was trying to ask her out. It happened all the time back then, but something made her open it. The note said, "I have a bomb." She looked at him. He tilted open his briefcase an inch. Red cylinders, wires, enough to make her believe. He spoke quiet, told her to sit down next to him, told her they were being hijacked. And here's the thing, he wasn't frantic, wasn't sweating, wasn't making threats. Ordered another bourbon. His demands were specific. $200,000 in $20 bills, 4 parachutes, primary, 2 reserve, a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. He didn't want to land until everything was ready. So the plane circled. For 2 hours, they flew in loops over Seattle while the FBI scrambled on the ground. They photographed the serial numbers of 10,000 $20 bills. They gathered parachutes from a local skydiving school. And at 5:45 p.m., the plane finally landed. Cooper let all 36 passengers go, everyone off the plane. Just the flight crew stayed. The pilot, the co-pilot, the engineer, 1 flight attendant, Tina Mucklow. The money came aboard, 21 pounds of cash in a canvas bag. The parachutes came aboard. Cooper checked them. He knew what he was looking for. He even cut up one of the reserve chutes, used the cords to tie the money bag. That told investigators something important. He wasn't planning to take a hostage. If he was, they could have sabotaged one of the chutes. But asking for 4 meant they couldn't risk it. He'd thought this through. At 7:40 p.m., the plane took off again. Destination, Mexico City, with a refueling stop in Reno. But Cooper gave very specific instructions. Fly at 10,000 feet, no higher. Leave the cabin unpressurized. Lower the landing gear. Set the flaps to 15 degrees. Keep the rear air stair door unlocked. The crew did what he asked. Cooper told them to stay in the cockpit. Close the door. Don't come out. And so they flew south into the darkness. At 8:13 p.m., the crew felt a shift, a change in air pressure. The tail of the plane dipped slightly. Something had happened in the back. When they landed in Reno and opened the cabin door, Cooper was gone. The rear stairs were down, swinging in the wind. 2 parachutes were left behind. The money bag he'd made from the reserve chute, gone. His tie, left on a seat. A tie clip, 8 cigarette butts, Raleigh filters, that was all. Outside, it was raining, near freezing temperatures. Winds, darkness. He jumped somewhere over southwest Washington, probably near the Columbia River, wearing a business suit, loafers, no helmet, with 21 pounds of cash strapped to him, into a forest so dense you could disappear into it and never be found. And that's exactly what happened. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in American history. Helicopters, search dogs, hundreds of volunteers. They combed hundreds of square miles of wilderness. They found nothing. No parachute, no body, no wreckage, nothing. For 9 years, they found nothing. And then, in 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was playing on the banks of the Columbia River, digging in the sand with his family, and he found something. $5,800, rotting $20 bills, rubber banded together, half buried in the mud. The serial numbers matched. It was Cooper's money, but how did it get there? Had Cooper buried it? Had he died in the river? The bills were deteriorated, fragmented. The FBI analyzed them and came to no conclusion, just more questions. So here's what we know. D.B. Cooper jumped out of a plane in 1971. He took $200,000. He was never seen again. No one was hurt, no shots fired. He didn't leave a manifesto, didn't make demands beyond the money. He just vanished. And for 50 years, people have been asking the same question. Did he survive? The odds say no. Experts estimate his chance of survival at less than 10%. The weather, the terrain, the fact that he jumped in the dark with no knowledge of where he was. The parachute he took, military surplus, non-steerable. Even experienced skydivers said it would have been nearly impossible. And that's the thing that keeps people searching, the possibility. Because if he survived, if he walked out of those woods with a bag full of cash, then he did something no one's ever done before or since. He beat the system. And then he disappeared into normal life. Got a job, maybe got married, had kids, lived 40, 50 years as someone else, someone unremarkable. never telling a soul. And that's the part I can't stop thinking about. Not the jump, not the money, but the silence after. Because here's what we know about human beings. We confess. We brag. We need witnesses to our lives. When we do something extraordinary, we need people to know. It's why criminals get caught, why secrets come out. We can't help it. Even when staying silent is the smartest thing we could do, we talk. But Cooper, if he survived, never said a word. Not to a friend, not to a bartender, not on his deathbed. He carried it alone for decades. Imagine that. You pull off the perfect crime, you make it out alive, and you spend the rest of your life sitting at a bus stop or in a diner or at a family reunion, watching the news talk about D.B. Cooper, watching people speculate, watching the FBI investigate 1,000 men who aren't you. And you say, nothing. You just drink your coffee and let them wonder, could you do that? Could you live 50 years with the biggest secret of your life locked inside you? Never hinting, never slipping, never feeling the need to say, that was me. I did that. Because if he survived, that might be the most impressive part. Not the hijacking, not the jump, but the fact that he stayed invisible for the rest of his life. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case. 45 years of investigation, over 1,000 suspects, thousands of hours of interviews, and their conclusion was, we don't know. If Cooper's alive, he'd be 100 years old now. Probably not, but maybe. Maybe he's sitting somewhere right now, an old man, with a story no one will ever hear. The only evidence we have left is this: $5,800 in rotting bills, a tie clip, 8 cigarette butts, and the myth. Because that's what Cooper became, not a criminal, a legend. The man who disappeared, the man who got away, the man who jumped into the dark and never came back. And we keep telling his story, not because we want him caught, but because we want to believe that it's possible that one person, unremarkable, average, forgotten the moment he walks past you, can do the impossible and vanish. And never tell a soul. That's the burden, isn't it? The perfect crime requires perfect silence, and silence is the hardest part. D.B. Cooper jumped out of a plane on November 24th, 1971, and wherever he landed, he's still there, still silent, still gone.